Okay. Hi everyone. It's 6:03. I guess we can get started. First of all, thank you for taking time to join this webinar. Okay, we can get started. A warm welcome to the webinar of Cold Email in 2024, navigating Google and Yahoo's February updates, plus proven strategies for lead generation. This is going to be the agenda for today's webinar. We'll have some introduction and then we will delve deep into the new email sender guidelines, and we'll talk about cold email mantra. We'll see deliverability essentials, limitation, and secrets, which are followed by AI-driven content and AI-driven personalization. Then we will see KPI, and finally we will summarize what all we have seen, and then we will end the session with question and answer session. Okay. In case you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the chat box, or you can say them, and the same can be discussed during question and answer session. Okay, so before giving introduction about our company, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Sundar, and I'm the co-founder at Data Driven. Okay, we are a digital marketing agency. We do both inbound as well as outbound. And we also have a division called EVA, which is into email deliverability, where we offer email verification, warm-up, and deliverability consulting. With respect to email marketing, we have accomplished few things, and I would like to highlight certain attributes here, which are 50% open rate. We have helped our clients to achieve 50% average open rate across campaigns and across the clients as well, which helped them book 5,000 plus meetings, and they went on to close at least 100 businesses. We are 16 for now. We have a presence in Chennai and Bangalore. We are working with the 25 plus active clients. These are some of our clients. We work with mostly B2B and some B2C customers. B2B tech, any B2B, right? And these are all some of our clients. And these are all some testimonials. Please do not bother too much. I'll have this recorded document sent to you so that you can have a look at your leisure. Okay, I think I've talked more about data driven and myself. Now it is time for you to tell me something about yourself. This is the first question. Are you a B2B marketer? Say yes or no in the chat. These are all the questions which will help me to fine tune the webinar presentation. So I would encourage your participation. Tell me if you're a B2B marketer. Say yes or no in the chat. I can see yeses. Submit yes. Okay. Your job function, is this into business development, sales, or marketing, or operation, top management, or others? Gulsar said no to the question, are you a B2B marketer? Gulsar, this webinar is mainly meant for B2B. Okay, Sachin, B2B marketing, operations, Ajima, operations. Okay, Nega, top management. Sumit, others, we are service-based agency. Okay, fine. This is the third question. Your job role, is it a junior or lead or manager or director level? How did you find it? Anita lead, Snega junior, Sachin team lead, Ajima lead, Gulsar manager, Sumit co-founder. Excellent. Okay. Now let's move on to the main story of the day. It is new email sender guidelines announced by both Google and Yahoo. What have Gmail and Yahoo announced for email marketers? Any organization that is sending over 5,000 emails per day will face potential blocking starting February if complaint rates are too high. So this is what we have announced. This is what they have announced. We have a good news and a bad news. The good news is that as of December 2023, Google made it clear that this new policy is applicable to those who send bulk emails only to personal email accounts. Okay, personal emails like gmail.com, googlemail.com, right? And if you are sending emails to only B2B emails, then this is not at all applicable immediately. However, you never know things. Google and Yahoo are generally conservative and they might include business emails as well in a week, in few months, in few years as well. Anything can happen. Okay. It would be a good idea to be safe rather than sorry. As of now, there is no worry, right? That things can change, like I said. So we all need to be proactive as email marketers and need to do what we should have been. So this is basically Gmail inbox updates. Yeah, like we discussed earlier, Gmail is setting standards for email marketers, especially for those who are sending 5,000 or more messages in a day to personal Gmail accounts. So that is the change. That's where policies have come. And then you need to have all your records done properly. SPF, TKIM, and DMARC. Earlier, DMARC was used to be a nice to have rather than a must to have. And SPF and DKIM were must to have. Going forward, all the three will be must to have. And you also need to ensure that you have a one-click unsubscription option and you need to work on them or you need to process the request within 2 days. Most importantly, if you are a bulk email sender sending larger amount of emails to personal email accounts, you need to ensure that your spam complaint rate should be less than 0.3%, which means if you're sending 1,000 emails to Gmail accounts, if more than 4 people are marking your emails as spam, then all the future emails you are going to send will be landing in spam folder only. That's the situation. Similarly, Yahoo also has given some guidelines. Mostly they are same. Okay, you need to have proper records, and you need to have simple sense for unsubscription, and the spam rate should be less than 0.3%. Now, it's up to you to prepare before any potential guidelines are introduced for B2B, right? Within a 2 month, you may get some news from Google and Yahoo saying this is now applicable to B2B email sending as well, right? In order to mitigate this situation, what you have to do is you have to be proactive and take some actions. And what they can be. Even if you're not sending emails to personal email accounts, I would still want you to get these three records updated: SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. In case you face any challenge while setting up these records for your domain, please feel free to reach out to me. Okay. Many email service providers like Constant Contact and MailChimp, etc., they all have default unsubscription option. What the prospects or recipients should have to do is they have to hit one button, okay, which will help them to unsubscribe, which will help them to unsubscribe themselves. In case you do not have such system in place, it is right time that you bring in to the table. And this is very important. Even if you are not sending emails to personal email accounts, it is still a good idea to control your spam rate. It should not exceed 0.3%. In order to track and monitor your spam rate, I would suggest you to use Google Postmaster tools, which will help you understand what level of spam rate you have on a daily basis. Also, you can think of tools like EvaWarm, our tool for email warm-up and verification to stay top on your deliverability. And please make sure that you never include B2C emails in your cold outreach. Many times what we do is we may not be able to find B2B email addresses, their business email addresses. During that time, their personal emails can be available, right? I suggest you to not use them anymore, because if you're getting some spam hitting from those email sending, then your entire campaign can be burned, right? So it would be a good idea not to use them. Spam rate is calculated on a daily basis. Like we discussed earlier, please use Google's Postmaster tools to track them. That's all about Google Yahoo's new email sending guidelines. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Or if you want to talk about it, I can unmute so that we can have a discussion. Alternatively, if you want to postpone this, we can have the same during the end of this webinar. We can have this discussed in the Q&A session. Any questions so far? First, please put in the chat. I assume that there are no questions for now. So I'm going to go and move on to the next. Okay. Since everything got something. Please explain DMARC policies in detail. Yeah, so there are three policies. There are three values in DMARC. You can set none, quarantine, or reject. It is mainly to let the recipient server saying what action should be taken when the email is failing in authentication. If the receiving email is failing, then the recipient server should have to act. Simply they can say none, or they can say quarantine or reject. If you set if you set the value as none, no further action will be taken, right? If it is quarantine, then email will be sent to spam folder. If it is reject, it will be rejected at the server level. It will not even go to spam folder. Sachin, have we got the answer? Have I answered clearly? Thank you. It is a small quiz. Let's say you send email A to a group of 100 people and email B to a group of 1000 people. The stats are below, right on the screen. Which scenario is best, A or B? In scenario A, you have 100 recipients, 50 opens, and 50% open rate. In scenario B, you have 1000 recipients, 200 opens, and 20% open rate. Which scenario is best? Please put your answer in the chat. Satya says A, Sachin says A. Okay, any more answers? Anita B. Somebody says A. Okay, cool. Yeah, most of you are correct. Thanks, Prashant. Actually, scenario A is good because in email marketing, open rate matters, not total number of opens, right? Here in scenario A, you have 50% open rate. Whereas here in scenario B, 20%. And it may look as if scenario B is good because where we can see 200 opens, right? Things may appear in that way. However, the durability at scenario B is at stake, right? You may not be able to run campaigns for a long time. The open rate will be reducing at a periodic interval. So my suggestion would be focus more on getting a healthy open rate rather than having more volume and expect less open rate, right? I would suggest go for scenario A. Quick survey. I would like to understand certain facts from you. Company X's website and primary email domain is x.com. Both website as well as primary email domain is x.com, and they run cold outreach from x.com itself. Do you think it would be a good practice? Say yes or no in the chat. No worries, Prashant. We are recording this. I'll have this sent to you. No worries. Bulsa says no. Someone says yes. Okay, fine. It's not bad to avoid spam complaints. We don't use own company domains for cold email sending. Okay, nice. Yeah, the best practice would be no. If your website and primary domain is x.com, then you are supposed to save or protect your website or primary email domain. Because we need to admit that we are going to run non-permission based outreach. In that case, some people may tend to mark your emails as spam. If that trend is going to the next level, if more number of people are marking your emails as spam, then in the eyes of Google and any email service provider for that matter, you will look like a spammer, right? And all your future emails will be going to spam folder. In order to mitigate this situation, what we need to do is we need to go for a secondary domain. Let's not touch website or primary email domain, right? Let's go for something new. If your domain is x.com, then think of x-mailing.com and buy them and set up an email account and run email campaign from that account. If somebody is clicking x-mailing.com, they should be redirected to x.com. So that's the best practice. Now let's quickly see deliverability essentials. Sender reputation is an important attribute when it comes to cold email marketing. Okay, how do you define sender reputation? A sender reputation is merely a score assigned by internet service provider for anybody who is sending mails. Okay, if the score is 90 or above, then you are at good hands. If it is less than 90, you are having room for improvement. Right? If you're wondering where I can see my sender score, don't worry. There is an app called GLAC Apps, which helps you get your sender score. There are other tools as well in the market that will give you some sender score, but I would suggest you to use GLAC Apps. Now, you also need to understand what attributes influence sender reputation. Okay, if you can work on these areas, you can get a decent sender reputation score. Let me start with the sender behavior. Your behavior, I mean, the person who is sending cold outreach. You need to have proper records, SPF, DKIM, DMARC, etc. And then you have to choose a right email service provider. If you're using constant contact, MailChimp, they're going to be conservative. You may not be able to run campaigns effectively there because they may suspend your account sometime during your campaign tenure. I would suggest you to go with the tools like Square, okay? And then inbox providers like Gmail and Yahoo, okay? Finally, recipient's behavior. So that holds the key actually. Sender reputation is largely dependent on these two. Like I said, sender behavior and the recipient behavior. If you are good at authentication, list collection method, list health, content, and frequency, and also on terms such as open, click, reply, forward. If people marking your emails as spam, that also affects your sender score. So you need to work on good ones. Open, click, reply, forward, and then other sender behavior methods. Let me reiterate. Actually, recipients, your target prospects, email receivers hold the key. They hold the power. If you have more positive traction from your recipients, then your emails are likely to end in inbox. Your future emails are likely to end in inbox. And those positive actions can be opening, reading, clicking, and adding your email address to the address book, replying, and forwarding. So these are all good actions done by recipients. And there are some actions called deleting your email or opting out themselves from your email list. These two do not necessarily have to be negative action, right? They are not positive, I agree with you, but they are definitely not negative. They are simply telling that they are not interested in a subtle way. Okay, so they are not negative, they are not positive as well. I'll call them as not bad. However, the main worry is people marking your emails as spam. So that's a negative thing. You should encourage people to unsubscribe if they are not interested, or if they should reply to you and say they are not interested. They should not mark your emails as spam. So that's very important in email marketing. Okay. And in order to improve your sender reputation, you can think of email warm-up. There are various warm-up tools available in the market, right? And we also have an email warm-up solution under the name Eva Warm. By having email warm-up in place, you'll be able to generate more leads and book more meetings. If you are having warm-up solution in place, then you will look legitimate in the eyes of Google or Yahoo or any service provider for that matter. And if they think you are real, then it is less likely for them to flag your email as spam. So I would suggest you to have email warm-up in place so that you can keep landing your emails in inbox. Some of you might have come across this in the recent past. Google recently banned SMTP warm-up, automated email warm-up, and a service provider called GWarm was using SMTP warm-up. I mean, they offered SMTP warm-up and they ended the service. The same thing can happen to IMAP warm-up as well. So the possibility of manual warm-up is high, and it is the way forward. And we at Data Driven via Eva offer manual email warm-up. This is the crucial part of email marketing, especially cold email marketing. when you are collecting the list by yourself or via an agency, you need to ensure that your list do not consist spam traps. Spam trap means email addresses that are put deliberately by internet service providers online. Anybody who is ending up sending emails to those email addresses will be automatically considered as spammers. So what you have to do is you have to ensure your list doesn't contain any spam traps. And then relevancy. Relevance is very important. If you are not reaching out to the relevant people, then the chance for them marking your emails as spam is very high. Especially, I mean, given the recent developments from Google and Yahoo with respect to spam complaints, it is high time that you have to focus more on relevancy. Cherry pick your accounts, cherry pick your target contacts. In case you're working with list providers, please ensure that they have proper processes in place and do email verification periodically. And you also need to deprioritize unengaged people. Now it's a quick survey. Is it legal to do cold email in the USA? Any answer? Say yes or no in the chat. Sneha, yes. Sachin, yes. Okay, can see some yeses. Okay. Some parts in USA it's illegal. Sachin, in US, yes, but in UK, not. Okay. Okay. It is completely legal to run cold emails in the USA as long as you have two things in place. One is to have your physical address, and another one is to have an option to unsubscribe. If you have these two options, it is completely okay to run cold email in the USA. And like Sachin clearly mentioned, the same case is not possible in UK or Europe. Thanks, Sumit. In Europe, they have something called GDPR. Okay, and it would be a hard practice to run cold email in the Europe. I would suggest to have LinkedIn outreach there in Europe. Now let's move on to content. In cold email, what we need to do is we need to ensure that the subject line is precise and catchy, because the first content they are going to see, I mean, your recipients going to see is your sender name and the subject line. And it is your duty to make it short and meaningful, attractive. And like we have been discussing, opt out note or opt out option is very important in cold email marketing. And anytime when you're sending email to some cold email prospect, please ensure that you have an option to opt out. And we have been in this cold email marketing for some time, and we suggest that you use text-based email with the personalization. That will be more effective rather than an image-oriented email copies. And please do not use so many links in your copy. Have one or two. And open tracking methodology is very important. If you're using an email service provider who is not reputed, then their open tracking pixels might produce problem for you, right? So you have to work with reputable email service provider, which is important. I would suggest you go with somebody like SBAT. They're good. Have physical address in your email copy, in all your email copy. and do not have spam triggering keywords such as free offer, buy now, etc. They're all spam triggering, and your email wouldn't look nice to the eyes of firewalls of various listing servers. So it would be a good idea to disregard them. Instead of saying words, saying marketing masala words like buy now, act now, etc., we can be genuinely making connections. In that way, the deliverability and the overall experience will be improved. And I'm seeing a lot of people using shortened links and attachments in their cold email copies, but I have a second thought. What I would suggest is instead of using shortened links, which would look nice when they see, but with respect to email deliverability, it can be detrimental. And attaching documents is also detrimental to any email marketing program. I mean, any cold email marketing program. I would suggest that instead of attaching, I would suggest you to put the document in a Google Drive or sheet and give the link there. That would be more than enough. And then do A/B testing. Every domain is different, every segment is different. It is up to you to do some A/B testing and find out which works best for you, which doesn't work for you. Now, let's talk something about the volume. In case you are running cold outreach for your company, please ensure that you are not sending more than 400 emails. I mean, if you are running cold outreach, please ensure that you are not reaching out to more than 400 people in a month from a domain. In 1 month, you can reach maximum 400 people via email from a domain. In case you want to have more volume, I would suggest that you have more domains. In that way, durability, credibility will be there, and that will be result yielding. And I would recommend that having the drips have 4 or 5, not more than that, right? And there are some players in the market like email service provider Nicely, which can help you run campaign at scale. They may even allow you to run campaigns for 1,000 people in a day. Okay. I would suggest that if you have more number, then the durability will be at stake. And in the worst case scenario, you may even lose your website. So that can be completely detrimental. Instead of doing that, let's have a small number and more number of domains. In that way, you'll be in the safer side. Even in the worst case, you will not miss much. So that's my recommendation. And everything has got its own pros and cons. Even in email marketing, we have some pros and some cons. We have seen a lot of pros, right? Lead generation, etc. With respect to cons, in some companies, people have strong firewall policies. Because of that, it will be very hard for us to land our emails in their inbox. Sometimes we are getting rejections, right? So these are all limitations. About 3 to 10% of our target prospects would be having strong firewall policies. We will not be able to deliver our emails in those some 3 to 7% servers. So that's a limitation in cold email marketing. Any questions? Otherwise, I can move on to AI-driven content. Okay. Fine. Let's talk about AI-driven content now. Okay, modern AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, etc., are using machine learning. Anita, for startups with limited budgets, what cost-effective strategies can you suggest to kickstart effective cold email campaign without breaking the bank? Okay. See, if you're a startup and you do have limitation in budget, I would suggest that have a mix. Do both email and LinkedIn. Like I said, have cherry picking process in place. Instead of reaching out to 100 people, you can still reach out to only 10 and generate 2 or 3 leads. That is highly possible if your messaging positioning is good. If you need any help there, you can reach out to me. I'll be happy to discuss this offline. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, I was talking about AI-driven content. Yeah, modern tools like ChatGPT, Claude, etc., are using machine learning techniques to understand the existing data and patterns and insights, and based on those information, they get content. Okay, and that gives you an extra chance to get a conversion. Earlier, we used to write everything on our own, which would have consumed more time and less room for having personalization. With the help of tools like ChatGPT, now we are having options to personalize to greater level or greater extent. I think we got one more question. Thanks, Anita. So these are all benefits of using AI content in email marketing. Yeah, it's very obvious. It's apparent to say time and cost are very, time and cost are, time is reduced and cost is also reduced. Efficiency is improved and you can have enhanced personalization. Like we discussed earlier, you can have enhanced personalization and you can do a lot of A/B testing and find the one that works best for you. You can have personalization even in the subject lines. That is possible with AI. And most importantly, you will be having unique content to more number of people, which is a good sign because in the scanner of Google or Yahoo, they think you are having more unique content, which means you are sending one-on-one emails, correct? More like permission-based emails. In that way, the chance of hitting inbox is very high. So you can definitely use AI-driven content, but please ensure that it is meaningful. You have to review AI-driven copies and ensure that the context is correct. Now let's quickly talk about AI-driven personalization. Yeah. Many clients that I work with are looking at personalization at contact level. Okay. If they are writing to someone, let's call him Karthik. Okay. If somebody is writing to Karthik at company X, what they do is they look into Karthik's LinkedIn profile and what all he has done so far, etc. And based on that, they have a personalized copy for it. Okay. If you're sending such emails, then there is a probability that some people might be scared of you invading their privacy. Okay. They may be suspicious. Instead of doing or instead of having personalization at contact level, I would suggest you to have personalization at company level. Okay. It can be meaningful. It can be meaningful because you have the website and you can extract all those content and put into ChatGPT or Cloud and say, this is my target customer's website and this is my generalized copy, and give me a personalized open line and then have a connector between the open line, personalized to open line and the generalized copy, and ChatGPT will be able to do that for you. It's very easy and you can have this process for everybody within the company. You're not going to write to only one person in a company all the time. Many times there will be more number of contacts within a company. So instead of having personalization at contact level, I would recommend you to have personalization at company level. In that way, things can be easy and there will not be any privacy related issues, right? And because of these personalizations, it will look like unique content to ISPs, and the chance of hitting inbox is high. Now let's see an example for a personalization at company level. Okay, so this is the before scenario. This is basically a generalized copy. Personalization is there to only some extent. Name and relevant customers. There are two personalization, basic personalizations. Okay, this is before. What I have done is I've gone to ChatGPT and told this is my general copy, and I'm going to write to a company, and their website is x.com, and their content is this. Their about us page is this. Now you give me a revised copy where I should have a personalized first line, and then there should be a connection between the remaining copy. Okay, the remaining copy will necessarily be my original content. Okay, but there should be a connection. You can't talk about the company and all of a sudden you can't talk about something else. That wouldn't make much sense, right? So it should be meaningful. The transition should be decent enough. Now let me show you the after scenario. See, impressed by Cooper's 6-decade legacy in electrical DB, BAM, prefabrication, instrumentation, and controls and calibration services. I couldn't help but think of how your expertise could enhance your site's measurements. Okay. Now I'm talking about you are probably using Go Island and Google Maps for site measurements. In both the paragraphs, I'm talking about site measurements. So there is some connection. I'm not saying this is an ideal copy. Okay, this is not an ideal copy, but for the sake of getting personalization, for the sake of getting personalization from the deliverability perspective, and also an attempt to give the user a feel of one-on-one, I'm doing all this. In this case, I may not be accurate. I may not be 100% accurate, but I can close to 80 or 85, which is more than enough. Because the one who is going to read this email is going to think like, okay, this guy has done some research. Okay. Yes, even if he thinks like he has done something stupid, still he will think like he has spent some time. So that's all you need. You need to let your recipient feel like you are not a spammer. So that's very important. Okay. If you have more time, if you think this can be scaled at your company, what you have to do is you have to have a review, right? You have to have one more review. If you are reaching out to 400 people in a month, sorry, if you're going to reach out to 400 people in a week, then the number of companies will be only 100 or 120. And chat gpt or Claude will give you the content. Okay, what you have to do is you have to quickly review these copies. That's all you have to do. I think this is doable, and we have been doing this for some of our clients, and they are being effective. In some cases, we miss context, and the recipient gets back to us and says, "Oh, this is not appropriate. You are talking about something wrong." But this is the actual fact. They are not angry with us, but in many cases, people like our emails, which means we are getting some traction from them. So this is one way you can handle guidelines. The one Google and Yahoo has given, right? It's the February update. That does not, that's not applicable to B2B email marketing. But if something like that comes for B2B email marketing as well, then for cherry picking and having a one-on-one feel, you can think of something like this. Okay, I got one question. If we use AI language in our email draft consistently, is there have any chances to more spam by content filters? Because all the people using AI language currently for cold approach. Yeah, that's a good question, Sachin. What we need to ensure is that we can definitely, we can definitely use AI for content. But the thing is, you need to give such tools enough prompts. You can't simply say my target customer is this and their behavior is this. Give me a cold email outreach copy. No, that wouldn't work. What you need to do is you need to think of them. You need to be at their shed and understand their challenges, right? The top challenges, their jargons, etc. Think of all those and give the prompt. And like the way I explained, have some personalization at company level. Okay, if you do all this, then you will definitely look like authentic to service providers like Google or Yahoo. Yeah, pain points. Correct. Okay. So you can think of these tools as well for your email marketing, and don't bother. I will have these recorded documents into you so that you can have look at it when you are free. Let's have a quick survey. What is the biggest challenge in email marketing? Cold email marketing. Any answers? Put your answer in the chat. Your challenge in email marketing. I'm not getting any answer. Yeah, I got some. Anita says B, the open rate. Anybody else? Sachin B. Okay. Okay, thank you. If you're running cold email outreach, this all KPIs for you, especially after Google Yahoo's guideline update. You have to focus on all these. Your list accuracy should be 95%, open rate should be minimum 40%, bounce rate should not exceed 3%, rejection rate should not exceed 1%, and response rate should be minimum 10%, and opt-out rate should be less than 5%. Spam hitting rate should be less than 0.3%. So that's very important. So you have to have cherry picking accounts process in place. Now we are going to talk about the top 5 deliverability secrets. Okay. We have already discussed the spam traps. So I would suggest you to not buy data from substandard company, any substandard company. In case you do that, those web scraping companies might be having spam traps in their list. If you buy and use them, you'll be ending up sending emails to spam traps, then your campaign and your domain will be burned. So not use that. Please do not use that. And many people think that personalization does not, many people think that personalization just gives one-on-one feel, nothing else. Okay. But the second thought is personalization, of course, does give one-on-one feel to people who read, and also it improves deliverability. Like we discussed earlier, if you have more unique content in your campaign, email service providers will think like you are sending one-on-one email, you are looking authentic. In that way, you can see improved open rate. And based on our experience, we have found that it is relatively easily to deliver emails in Gmail workspace inboxes, okay, rather than Outlook. If the email account is Gmail or Google Workspace, then the possibility of hitting inbox is high, and the same is not applicable in Outlook or Yahoo emails. So if you're starting, what I would suggest is just have Gmail or Google Workspace emails alone and send campaigns to only those email accounts and expect a good open rate and then gradually introduce other email addresses. And the fifth tip, never set up campaign for all the contacts from a company if that is going to be sending rejections. In that case, set up a campaign for only one contact first and see if there is rejection. If there is a rejection, then don't use remaining email accounts. Instead, disregard them. If there is no rejection, then you can set up a campaign for the remaining contacts as well. In that way, you can avoid a large number of rejections, which would result in domain burn. In case you have any doubts over here, please feel free to ask me. Now, let's quickly wrap up what we have seen. We saw the introduction and we discussed email center guidelines, and we saw the mantra of email marketing. We discussed email deliverability essentials, limitation, AI-driven content, personalization, KPI, etc. Sachin Sharikar, I want to know more how we can separate Google Suite and Post 365 and any other ESPs domains in the B2B data. There is a way to isolate emails, or there is a way to segment emails based on where it hosted. Okay, we have that guidelines with us. I don't have it handy. Okay, just give me a sec. So this is my LinkedIn profile. Okay. Sachin, I do not have that file handy. There is a method. Okay, there are some guidelines. It is very simple. You can easily segment emails based on their posting status. Okay, please ping me on LinkedIn. I'll have that document sent to you. Okay, is there any bulk email tool, especially identifier? Yeah, we work with a company called Data. Okay, they are into email identification. If you want any help there, please feel free to reach out to me. Any other questions? And I am also giving you guys a form to feedback form. Just give me a second. This is a feedback form. If you can open this link and give me some feedback, that would be a great help. Even if the feedback is negative, that's completely fine because everybody has room for improvement at every time. So I would request you to hit this link and give me a feedback. That would be great help. Any questions, guys? Negative responses are inevitable in cold outreach. What strategies do you recommend for handling objections, negative responses gracefully, and turning them into potential opportunities? Yeah, that's a good question. If somebody says that they are not interested, it does not mean you should be upset, because when they say not interested, it means that you have reached out to the right prospect. So that's a good sign. Unfortunately, they are not interested at this time because they may be in a different sales cycle, or they may not be in a buying situation. They may not be having the budget, etc. Okay. In that case, what I would say is you have to reply to them saying you fully understand the situation. However, I'll get back to you after 2 months or three. During that time, if there is any change in your situation, please let me know. Can reply to people in that way. And having said that, you don't have to reach out to them only after 2 months. If you come across any good article, or if you have got any insights based on your experience, you can send them an email saying, I know you are not in the sales cycle or you are not interested at this time, but I've come across this article which I thought you might be finding it interesting. So I wanted to share this with you. So engage with people. Okay, I got one more question. Madhi, we are doing B2C email marketing, Yahoo only. We get partial inbox, only same content going inbox and spam and shortly. What's the problem? For Actually, this webinar is mainly for B2B. If you want to know more about B2C, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. This is more for B2B focus. If you want some help or some suggestion, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Any other questions? Hope some people are giving me feedback. Your feedback is very important because that will help me fine tune my presentation for the future. Thanks, Satria. Thanks, Sachin. I don't think we have any other questions. Like I requested, please fill the feedback form and give me something so I can fine tune my presentation in the future. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. And if you can follow these best practices, you'll be able to achieve better results, be it achieving a open rate or achieving a good number of leads. You'll be able to do it if you can follow these best practices. Again, thanks for your time. Take care. Bye bye.